everybody, and good evening. It's me, BeauCh, City Council position number 2. I would like to invite you on a walk through Enumclaw on this beautiful, crisp, moist evening, because something exciting has been happening in the city of Enumclaw, mainly Enumclaw City Council. Wow, was Monday a fun evening. I would like to read to you the resolution that City Council has passed. I think it's very important that you get kind of an unfiltered view of this resolution before it hits the airwaves and any sort of commentary tries to spin it to try to rile up emotions, because I wager that 99% of people out there, when they hear what your city of Enumclaw has passed, or rather the City Council has passed, that's important, this is the City Council speaking, I imagine that 99% of people out there will wholeheartedly agree with this. So do note, this is a resolution, meaning that it is, in my own words, a resolution is kind of an official agreement by the City Council to kind of direct city policy. So a resolution is not an ordinance, so it's not like a law where a private business can point to it and say, hey, this law makes me exempt from county laws or state laws, or I can do this illegal activity. No, as a private business, you still have to use your brain. However, this resolution does carry a lot of weight. I've actually noticed some surrounding municipalities try to shy away from anything potentially controversial, because it's like in this day and age, everybody has to act like they know what's going on, when in reality, there's no blueprint, there's no playbook for COVID-19. And so I think it's very important when we see absurdist activity, it's okay to call an ace and a spade, and say, hey, this is silly town. We're not gonna do that. That's a metaphor. Enumclaw is not a silly town that I'm saying like it's silly beans. You know what anyway. Hey, let's continue with the resolution. So it does carry weight. And I encourage you to, if you see a city council member, thank him or her for what they're doing. Not necessarily me. I'm honestly not in this for the accolades. You can hate me all you'd like. Believe me, some people have. There's still a minority out there that really doesn't like me for some reason. Even though I love Enumclaw, I love people. But anyway, again, it's not about me. Hey, look at this. Art's alive. I love walking through Enumclaw. By the way, again, if you hear any kind of people trying to stir up other people about this resolution, like, oh, City of Enumclaw is anti-vaccine or anti-science, which is not the case of this resolution. If anybody claims that, turn the page, unsubscribe, turn off the channel. They're just trying to rile up your emotions. Again, at the core of this resolution, it deals with, in my own words, it deals with the concerning encouragement by certain authorities to try to segregate people and discriminate those people groups. But again, that's my commentary, so I would like to hop into the exact terminology that your Enumclaw City Council has officially agreed upon. Yes, we voted this in after we discussed it in depth. Everybody had a say, and I'm proud to introduce resolution number 1734. By the way, little side note, I might skip a few things, not because I'm trying to hide anything, but there's a lot of legal language in here. Like, for example, whereas, fill in the blank. It can get really boring, so I don't want to bore you guys too much with this, but I'll try to skip as little as possible because this is very important, okay? Here we go. A resolution of the City of Enumclaw, King County, Washington, declaring the City of Enumclaw to be an inclusive community where citizens and businesses should be treated equally, without discrimination, with respect to vaccination status. Whereas, on February 29th, 2020, the state of Washington declared a state of emergency in all Washington counties due to COVID-19. And whereas on October 25th, 2021, Seattle-King County Public Health instituted a mandate requiring vaccination verification or negative COVID-19 PCR testing at businesses deemed non-essential due to COVID-19. And whereas this mandate was announced on September 10th, 2021 during peak case counts and hospitalizations due to the rapid surge of the COVID-19 Delta variant wave, and represented as necessary to reduce transmission to unvaccinated individuals and avoid overwhelming the hospital system. And whereas in the roughly 6 weeks that has passed between the announcement and implementation of the vaccine verification, the hospitalizations and case count within King County has dropped significantly, with no regulatory changes being implemented. And whereas the city of Enumclaw as a municipality has no legal ability to waive mandates enforced by Seattle King County Department of Health and Washington State Department of Labor and Industries or the Washington State Liquor and Cannabis Board, and therefore cannot protect any local business from county or state directed penalties or license suspensions. And whereas the Enumclaw City Council recognizes that as a community, citizens can make their own decisions regarding personal health and safety, as well as the health and safety of their families. And whereas the Enumclaw City Council recognizes that properly trained private businesses are capable of determining what is best for the health and safety of citizens who they employ and serve. And whereas the Enumclaw City Council recognizes that private businesses have not been given training over vaccine verification and testing verification, or de-escalation training for mandates in which they were not given a choice in implementing. And whereas the Enumclaw City Council recognizes all businesses as essential, supporting different functions of the economic cycle and ensuring that all forms of income are not threatened by government mandates. And whereas the city of Enumclaw stands as an inclusive community where all people, regardless of their vaccine status, religious preference, disability, medical condition, or access to testing, should be treated equally with kindness, compassion, and understanding. And whereas the Enumclaw City Council stands with private businesses and with citizens in opposition to the Seattle King County public health mandate, does not give customers of privately owned businesses the right to harass, assault, or vilify an employee or business because of a mandate that can strip them of a license or of their livelihood. And whereas while the Enumclaw City Council is against the mandate, does not mean we should take our collective frustrations out on employees or private businesses, as all citizens retain freedom of choice and have the ability to choose a different form of service. And we should be voicing our collective views of discrimination against such a mandate. And whereas the Enumclaw City Council does not support government mandates or restrictions promoting COVID-19 classification, grouping, segregating, or discriminating in our community. And whereas proof of vaccination status should not be required by any government mandate in order to access businesses, cultural events, or would otherwise provide inequity of services resulting in discrimination. And whereas per Seattle King County Public Health, employers, employees, and volunteers should provide reasonable accommodation for those with disabilities who attest to having completed their vaccination series but are unable to provide proof of vaccination due to their disability. Now, therefore, the City Council of the City of Enumclaw, beg your pardon, again, that's an important distinction. This is the City Council speaking, okay? Therefore, the City Council of the City of Enumclaw, Washington, hereby resolves as follows. Section 1. The City of Enumclaw is an inclusive community where we do not stand for or allow discrimination, where all businesses are considered essential, where all businesses treat and citizens are treated with equal access regardless of vaccination status. No business should medically classify a citizen, as businesses have not been trained by healthcare officials to determine the validity of vaccination or testing documentation. No business should discriminate against a citizen based on vaccination status due to a deeply held religious belief or personal medical condition. No business should discriminate against a citizen with a disability that prevents them from receiving a vaccination or providing proof of vaccination because of a disability. Quick pause. Sorry, my nose is a little runny because it's cold out. Don't worry, it's not COVID-19, which is not a laughing matter. It's a very serious thing. But anyway, I'm going to continue to section number 2 because each of these sections are so slam dunk awesome. I'm going to wait for this loud car to pass. Are you ready for section number 2? Here we go. Section 2. The Enumclaw City Council views requiring testing documentation as a requirement for select businesses determined by the Seattle-King County Public Health as being non-essential, as an act of discrimination that will disproportionately target lower income citizens, minority communities, citizens who adhere to religious beliefs. I'm going to pause right here because there's a giant Enumclaw truck going through downtown. That happens. I'm going to back up a little because this is important. Basically, the mandate is being seen as the act of discrimination to lower income citizens, minority communities, citizens who adhere to religious beliefs, citizens with disabilities, and citizens with a medical condition preventing vaccination. It's discrimination. Section 3. The Enumclaw City Council views discrimination as, we're going to define it, this is important, defined as treatment or consideration of, or making a distinction in favor of or against a person or thing based on the group, class, or category in which that person or thing belongs, rather than on individual merit. It's defined right there. I'm going to carry on. Sorry, my little commentary. Since the state of Washington and King County have classified people in either a vaccinated or unvaccinated status, they are now responsible for ensuring that they do not discriminate between these two groups or take any action that would show disparate treatment to either group. The practical effect of this is forcing citizens to eat outside in the elements rather than being allowed inside a public venue related to entertainment, or denied entry into a government-deemed non-essential business because of lack of on-site rapid testing access. Section 4. Seattle-King County Public Health is now mandating discrimination against those citizens they have placed in an unvaccinated status who have reduced access to testing, as not all testing sites are open 24 hours, 7 days a week, as not all testing can be guaranteed to not produce a false positive, as not all testing can be guaranteed to have a reasonable turnaround time for results, as not all testing opportunities are considered equal from King County's accepted list. Seattle-King County Public Health's requirement to require testing documentation is a distinction against anyone who is deemed unvaccinated. It would and should be considered discrimination. Section 5. I'm going to wait for this car to pass until we continue Section 5. Section 5. The City of Enumclaw should not take part in or support a mandate designed to discriminate against its citizens or the citizens of King County. Since the COVID-19 pandemic, actions are based on the science and data. Full access to businesses was restored statewide as of June 30th, 2021. And with the use of proper PPE, social distancing, and with the continuous acceptance of preventative behaviors and vaccination, this was done without vaccine verification and without mandates that would discriminate. Such verification and mandates, even the federal government has publicly stated it will not take up. Such verifications are not mandated by the state of Washington. and constitute an abuse of authority. Section 6, severability. If any provision of this resolution is determined to be invalid or unenforceable for any reason, the remaining provisions of this resolution shall remain in force and effect. Done in open and regular session this such and such day of 2021. You can look up this past Monday because that was the day we passed this. In case you're wondering, I'm done reading right there, and this is now my own excited commentary because, guys, I love Enumclaw. I love this city council. It just puts a fire in my belly, and I love you all.